and welcome to Unbox the podcast. I'm your host, Sahar Palmer. Today we're going to explore the extraordinary journey of self-discovery. We're going to dive into a remarkable transformation journey from the corporate world into the mystical world of psychic exploration and holistic healing. Really, I'm talking about my own journey. The journey begins with an unexpected twist. Picture this: a busy corporate setting filled with deadlines and boardroom meetings, yet amidst the hustle, a seed of curiosity was planted. A curiosity that would eventually lead to profound awakening. My intuition led me to London, and I'll explain later, where I delved deeper into spiritual practices. Through this practice, I learned to distinguish between my own thoughts and spiritual guidance. It wasn't always easy, but with time, I began to trust my inner compass, if you like, more and more. The journey also began with exploring the tarot cards. I was at the juncture in my life where I really didn't know whether to turn left or right. My cousin Saida suggested that I see a tarot reader on King's Road. And I said, "The tarot? What is that?" And she said, "Why don't you go and find out?" I made an appointment and I walked in to see Marin Jose on King's Road. And what she said astounded me. She said, "I can't read for you. You've been through a trauma. You're blocked." And I said, "How come? You've got the cards." And she said, "No, I only know your future if you know your future on a higher level. And because you've been through a trauma, you're blocked and I can't read for you." And I thought, oh, so there was no power in the cards, I thought to myself. And I said, "Well, what must I do?" She said, "Go, relax, have a good time, and come back in 3 months." And I said, okay. Marin was an absolutely wonderful human being. I really, really liked her. And I found myself calling her over and over again. And I said, "I don't want a reading. I just want to see you." And she said, "Come over and have some tea." And a friendship developed. And I met her mom, who was an incredible seer, also in London. And her mom, from the tea leaves, predicted my path. So I was fascinated. And she described where I lived, on the 3rd floor, by Hyde Park. And she said, "You're a writer." I said, "No, I'm not. I had studied civil engineering and I continued into marketing and I worked in advertising and brand management. So no, I wouldn't say I'm a creative person." And she said, "No, you are." She said, "Just start and write for 10 minutes every day." I did. I did exactly what she said. I was staying with the family. I set up a room for myself, a desk, bookshelves, etc. And I pretended I was a writer. And I think she actually said, "Just see your book in the bookstore window." And I did that. To cut a long story short, years down the line, Prediction magazine, which was the first Body, Mind, Spirit magazine in the United Kingdom, the editor invited me to have my own column. And I was flabbergasted. And I remembered that tea leaves reading by Marin. I pestered Marin actually to learn the tarot, because I thought if I could read my future, then I could control the outcome and avoid disasters. But I soon realized that the true power lay in how we shape our destiny day by day. Learning the tarot was just a gateway to a deeper understanding of myself, of personal empowerment, and how we can shape our future by the decisions that we make, literally every hour, every day. And to this day, this is how I teach the tarot, as a tool for self-development and self-empowerment. There's a lot of mystery in the tarot. I'll talk about that later. But the story fascinated me of how self-growth can be told through the journey of the Fool. The Fool starts in the tarot with number 0, and we see him transformed at the end of the journey in the last card, where he transforms into the world. I started giving readings to friends and clients. They kept coming back and saying, oh, this has happened, give me another reading and another reading. And then my cousin Mona suggested that I start charging. I started with £5 and then £10 and then £15. It was, if you told me a few years ago I'll be doing this, there's no way I would not have believed it. But I enjoyed it so much. I loved it. It opened up a lot of doors for me into numerology, into astrology, into myth and ancient cultures and symbology and dream interpretation. Absolutely incredible journey, and Maren was an incredible teacher. So the whole journey of the tarot led me down the path of self-awareness and learning the mechanics of how we make things happen. Because clients kept coming back. They made lists. And they would come back and they would tick, this has happened, this has not happened. Why not? Why is it late? Why is it early? All these questions was an incredible exploration into what is time and how do we download things so that they happen on time, and why don't they happen? What is the reason behind the delays that we might experience in any prediction? I really learned that nothing is predetermined and nothing is written in stone. In my exploration of these answers, I stumbled into life coaching, counseling, and a few years later, into holistic therapy. But going back to Maren, learning the tarot from her has led to all these opportunities. The path just unfolded, really. And I would probably tell you, in all honesty, that if things unfold easily, then it's meant to happen, and you are on your path. If you find yourself exerting a lot of pressure, then you're probably going against the wind and you are on a path that you shouldn't be on. There is nothing personal in life. It's just look out for synchronicity, and if things happen and if they open up, then you are in alignment. That's the right path, and this is how things are meant to be. Sometimes we resist that. Sometimes we exert. We think it's willpower. And we exert a lot of effort to make things happen, but they just backfire. Soon after starting with Maren, she suggested that I do the Silva Method course. I didn't even question what that was. I did the course. We were 400 people in the hall, and everyone could perceive energy, inanimate objects, send healing, receive information, scan people, things, plants, trees, whatever. It was absolutely incredible. And I learned, this was back in 1991 when I first arrived in England. It taught me all about energy and how it is driven by the wavelength of the brain. So there's nothing weird or mystical or enigmatic here. Luckily, my cousin was a neurosurgeon, and I kept pestering him, asking him questions about the brain, the nervous system, how does it all work? And I really delved into it to understand how do we control, or what sets the wavelength that we're in, what activities can trigger, switch the brain from one wavelength to another. Soon afterwards, he suggested that I do the Healing Tao with Master Mantak Chia. I had no idea what that was, but I did it. Anything she suggested, I did. I just trusted her to guide me on this path. In the Healing Tao, I learned all about the human energy field. Our aura, if you like, how through it we interact with the world that we live in, how it affects our organs and our head. Master Mantak Chia is amazing. His knowledge is amazing. In fact, afterwards, I asked him to do a podcast interview back in 2005, and I think it was the first time that he was interviewed and also podcast interviewed, and it was just absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible that he accepted, and the podcast did really well. Please listen to it. It is honestly fascinating. It's still on my feed. I think you need to go back all the way down to 2005 or so, and you'll find the interview with Master Mantak Chia. Both of these courses, to me, illuminated the intricate relationship between energy and consciousness, matter and energy. One doesn't exist without the other. I really highly recommend these two courses. Whatever path you're on, it's really a must-do course. The journey, however, didn't stop there. A few years down the line, I was nominated as one of the best 100 psychics in the world, unbeknown to me. A friend of a friend kept calling me from the United States. It was back in the days when we had fax. I don't think even the email had started yet. And this person, Hans Holzer, would fax me a question and I would answer it. And then he'd come back again and fax me another question and I would answer it and fax him back the answer and so on. And then suddenly, my friends told me that I'm listed in this book by Hans Holzer, who was a paranormal investigator, quite respected actually in his field. And in fact, I have been nominated 3 times. This was absolutely incredible to me. I had no idea that he was testing me or this is what he was planning or writing about. From there on, each interaction, each experience served as a stepping stone on my path to a deeper understanding of the human psyche and how the biochemistry, if you like, interacts and connects to the mind, body, and spirit. It is also thanks to you, my clients, your feedback helped me to grow. At the time, there was no clear path, not that there is one now, for a psychic. But having come from a civil engineering background and the corporate world, and having come from a family of engineers and doctors, it made my approach to psychic development and readings more grounded. I also learned that dreams are the language of the subconscious mind because our brains are always working. Even when we're sleeping, our brains are working, helping us solve problems. So in a way, dreams are communicating, the subconscious communicating to us in our sleeps how we can solve problems and integrate experiences we go through. So from the tarot, I ventured into life coaching, into holistic therapy, which transformed into life mentoring, bringing all of these things together. That's why I call it holistic mentoring. It became clear to me that my path was about guiding clients to discover for themselves who they are and what their path is. Many of my clients would actually reflect that back. I remember seeing a very old client, and I said, "Hey, Sam, it was really nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a long time." And he said, "Oh, no, I'm not coming to see you." And I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because everyone who has from our group have changed their jobs." And I thought, what? And I realized that people were coming in phases at a certain time. Let me say there were cyclical trends. So like the first few clients, they would be changing jobs, and then later on, the trend was that clients would start their own business, and so on and so forth. It made me aware of the bigger cycles of time and the trends that were going on as we were, all of us as a collective, were evolving. Reflecting on that journey, I realized that my true path specifically lay in demystifying intuition and helping others to tap into their own guiding compass, to unbox, if you will, their inner gifts. In a nutshell, it was all about self-awareness. 30 years down the line, I ended up writing books exactly about that. You truly never know where your life path takes you if you don't start following it. In terms of the psychic development, there was really no drama, no phenomena. I didn't see angels flying. Nobody spoke to me. In fact, everything unfolded so smoothly that, to begin with, it didn't freak me out, and I didn't think much of it. I didn't think that there was anything unusual. I honestly thought that everyone was made that way because I never heard people talking about anything unusual. So I thought, they must all be having the same experience. I thought we all were experiencing whatever I was experiencing. And I believed that everyone was born psychic. In fact, I still do. We really all are. This is part of our makeup. I explain all about it in my book, Psychic Powers, and I'm grateful that this book was turned into an audiobook so that people who cannot read can actually listen to the book. So I was really thrilled when the publisher released the book also as an audiobook. My publisher is Arcturus Publishing. They're truly amazing. They produce these wonderful books in hardback, gilded, and also with a lot of colorful illustrations. They've really done a great job. Please have a look in your favorite store, online or real store. Have a look at these books and see what it is that you feel attracted to. And I realized, as I said earlier, that my writings, my articles, my books are all about demystifying the enigma of intuition. if you like. It's like a gift that we're all born with. I realized specifically that when I was writing the book about Turkish coffee cup readings. Yes, you can interpret the deposit at the bottom of your Turkish coffee. It's a huge tradition in the Middle East. I had clients come in from Japan and Brazil just to have their coffee cup read. When I was writing the book, an English client walked in and she saw all the photographs all over the sofa and she said, "Sahar, what are you doing?" And I said, "I'm writing this book." I looked for an angle to understand what drove people to reading the Turkish coffee. And I found a link to spirituality because Turkish coffee was drunk in Arabia by spiritualists, religious people who drank the coffee to stay alert all night and to do their prayers. In fact, the coffee was so holy that it was forbidden to take it away from outside Arabia. When my friend looked at the photographs, she just kind of like looked at me and said, "Well, Sahar, what you're really doing is you're demystifying something enigmatic and you're making it logical and rational for anyone to learn how to do that." And I looked back and I thought, wow, and that felt good. Her comment reflected something back that I wasn't seeing. And this is what I mean when clients helped me decipher my own path. I hope to be able to publish this book again. The publisher went defunct and I bought the copyright, and I would really like to publish it in a way that it deserves, like a colorful coffee table book. But that's another story for another podcast. What I want to say is when you're ready for something, there might be no trumpets and huge dramatic things that happen. Your path might unfold so easily that you doubt your own destiny. Don't. The easier it is, the non-dramatic it is, it means there is no contrast because you are on that frequency. You are doing what you should be doing. So don't doubt yourself just because you don't get any drama. Join me next week to discover how my own life, because of a dream I had, prophetic dream I had, changed 180 degrees overnight. Until then, take care and live your best life.